The seed he had sown over months had grown, till capacity had reached the brim. Head out first, it began to burst through tissue, fat, and skin. She knew that the time had been predicted on dimes, so she screamed for a helping hand. In rushed a nurse who solely knew of the curse of the baby that was inevitably damned. The cries that she spilled, the nurse sware could have killed, but she never once left her side. And then she was sure by the crack at the door, its help she contently sighed. The midwife arrived at 4:45, as she previously promised she would. The ancient dark lady would deliver the baby as painless and quick as she could. One couldn't help but wonder why a roll of thunder had announced her very stare, why thick white smoke curled around her to choke the freshness from the air. She was hunched and stout, her hair twisted about, she seemed to glide through the room. "The time is right," she cackled with delight. "The child will be birthed soon." She gathered a fire and sparked the flames higher. She demanded the nurse to leave the two of them home in a room alone. "Breathe," she hissed, "just breathe." With a crooked grin, she thrust her hands in. She pulled and tugged, she did, but all the force in the world couldn't separate the girl from the child that was stuck within. They labored all day till midwife did say, "It doesn't matter how loud you shout. If you bruise a fruit, the rest is still loot, so we'll have to cut him out." Her eyes grew wide, and oh, how she cried as the midwife bound her wrists. Then she dug in a knife, fished her hands in twice, and at last the baby had surfaced. The mother was dead, how quickly she bled, but that was the midwife's plan. She tore a piece of blanketing fleece and wrapped him like succulent ham. Opening the door, she began to implore of the weeks and months she had waited. She held the boy tight and walked into the night, into the darkness she eventually faded. Arriving home, she began to moan and writhe with pleasure and greed, for the pact she made was a debt unpaid. It was time to complete the deed. She opened a book and began to look for the recipe she agreed to make. On the hearth there sat an enormous vat, stewing hemlock, entrails, and snakes. "Next," she cried, "calls for a newborn's hide," she read from the ancient book. "Once removed, it is gutted and stewed and allowed for some time to cook." The charm was spun when she strangled the young, then crushed frail bones in her grip. She neither could wait, nor could she be late to take her expected trip. She skinned the sun and refused to shun at the vile, putrid display. "Thank you," whispered she, "for bestowing to me the power to fly away." The mixture surged, and the odor it purged was rotten, bitter, and sweet. She read, "Now let it cool, be it placid to pool, then strain the mixture of meat." In jars it was collected, every drop of the wretched. She sealed them to let them rest. "It's been a long night, and I've put up a fight," she exclaimed as she began to undress. The naked old hag's skin rippled and sagged as she liberally applied the potion. "This traditional spell shall wing her to hell. Behold Legion's flying potion." No sooner did she even speak of the heathen, her body began to rise. It tingled and burned, she twisted and turned, she hovered and hissed as she writhed. She burst through the shutter with cackle and flutter as she tore through the open sky. The ointment had worked, she thought as she smirked, how free it feels to fly.